Hello and welcome to the Leveraging AI podcast, the podcast that shares practical, ethical ways to leverage AI to improve efficiency, grow your business, and advance your career. This is Isar Meitis, your host, and we have a special episode for you today. For over a year now, a community of amazing business people from all around the world who are all AI enthusiasts who wants to learn together have been meeting every Friday for what we call the Friday AI Hangouts. There's usually 15 to 25 people every week. As I mentioned, different places around the world, different sizes of companies from large corporations to solopreneurs and everything in between. And everybody brings ideas, questions, solutions, things they've learned, systems that they found, and so on. And it's just a fascinating conversation every single week. It's completely open to anybody to join. And there are endless number of golden nuggets from these meetings. And I thought it would be interesting for you to listen to segments out of these AI Friday Hangouts to see if that's something you might be interested in joining as well. So this episode is going to be snippets out of different community meetings. Many of them are extremely tactical and valuable, and you're going to learn a lot from them, just like you learn from our regular Tuesday episodes, but it will also give you an idea of what it feels like so you can decide if you want to join us or not. If you do want to join us, there's a link in the show notes. Click on the link, register, it will appear on your calendar, and then obviously you don't have to join, but whenever you're available on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, you can do that. I will obviously like to see many of you and to get to know you better and to welcome you to our amazing community. And now to the episode.
I wonder if anybody has any experience sort of taking what they did in a custom GPT into the new chat GPT projects. And the context is this: I built sort of like a prototype for a client. They had a new apprentice starting. They've never had an apprentice before, and they had no clue how they were going to deal with it. And so I ended up finding like what the apprentice's like 3-year plan was and put that into the GPT. And then I found out what systems they used in house and created this thing that they can talk to it and figure out how to teach the person, give it to the kid to learn his things and stuff. And yes, now they love it and are going to want to use it and build on it. And I realized that it would be so much better to have it in this new like chat GPT projects, because then everything stays in the same place and I can control it, but have more different users. So I'm just wondering, do the instructions still work as well? Has anybody tried that migrating?
I will let other people answer before I answer. Anyone? No one? Okay, so how many of you need an overview of projects in general before we dive into what are the differences? Okay, so the biggest, 2 seconds on the biggest difference between projects and custom GPTs. Custom GPTs follow instructions and do them, and that's it, and that's the end of the thing. And a project is, think about a project as a mini private version of ChatGPT. And in that mini private version, you can give it its own universal context. You can give it special set of instructions, but very different than a ChatGPT. You can have conversation, basically a regular chat, just like a regular chat with ChatGPT, only inside your little universe. And it has
it has its own memory. It has its own memory.
Here's where I'm going. It has many benefits right now over custom GPTs. Yeah. The first one is you can have free form conversations with it, versus in ChatGPT, it just follows the instructions, right? You can't just have a regular conversation in there. So that's a big benefit. The other big benefit is that you can upload more files than you can upload into custom GPTs inside projects, which is obviously a big deal. The third thing, which is huge, is what Jonathan just said. It has its own memory in its own little universe, which means in addition to the information that you gave it when you trained it to do the thing and you gave it access to files, it learns over time because you give it more information as you're having conversations with it. So as of right now, there's really no reason to create new custom GPTs. It makes a lot more sense to build them inside projects because of all the things that I just said. Those who already exist in custom GPTs, the answer is it depends. And the reason it depends, if it's working, it's working. Like there's no reason to move it over. Like if it's doing the thing that it needs to do, let it do the thing that it needs to do. But if it doesn't, or if you wanted to have the ability to have free form conversations with that in mind, or you wanted to learn over time, or all these kind of things, then literally all you have to do is upload the same files on the project side, copy the instructions to the instruction sections, and that's it. And you're off to the races. So it can work. And if you think about it, projects in Claude, that's what they've done for a while. Like in Claude, you don't have these two different animals. There's one thing, which is projects, which you can use kind of like projects in ChatGPT or like custom GPTs in ChatGPT, depending how you want to use it. And so I think when ChatGPT came up with project was to partially mimic, but they should have just converted ChatGPT, like custom GPTs into projects. And I think that just to want to confuse people, go like, whoa, where did ChatGPT like custom GPTs go? So right now it's kind of like duplicate. But
the only thing is that you can't do connectors or something, right? At the moment with these new
so there's a few things you cannot do. Like the only real benefit of custom GPTs right now is the whole section on the bottom where you can write code and do all these kind of things. That does not exist inside of projects yet. But again, I think what makes sense is that they would merge the two things into one thing that has all this functionality. But I think that's the only thing right now that doesn't exist.
Okay. And have you tried sharing it with people and using the different permissions and stuff?
Oh yeah, hold on. So that's the biggest thing. You cannot share. Oh no, now you can share everything. They changed it like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, brand new. Just
until like 2 or 3 weeks ago, you couldn't share projects. You could only share custom GPTs. And now you can share projects as well. You can even share them. I'm confusing. I'm using so much of Claude recently. In Claude, you can share projects with anyone. Like you can share projects with the world and they don't see the instructions and the data behind it, but they can use the project. In ChatGPT, I don't remember how they did it, but I know you can now share projects in ChatGPT that you couldn't a few weeks ago. So yeah, you can share projects.
Okay. Well, I'll keep working on this and I will report back how it goes.
Awesome.
Because I also want to like have different permission levels. I think it would be good if the apprentice can use it, but only in study mode or something, right? Whereas the people that have to work.
So I think in that case, you probably want to create another version of it that would be for the apprentice. And I think that would make it a lot easier to control where you give it slightly different instructions.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And just before, while I still have the floor, I just wanted to say thank you to Ken for sending me a podcast after the last session, which was really helpful to my last
awesome.
last week's issue. Thank you, Ken.
This is not about me. This is about us all helping each other. And there's nothing that makes me happier than to know that if I die tomorrow, this team can continue being helpful to another.
Actually, I've been listening to a lot of your podcasts every week and trying to use the tools, and the frustration level is unbelievable. It took Gemini to write me a script to merge a bunch of Google Docs into one doc, 38 script attempts. And everyone said, I got it right now. I got it right here to just cut and paste this into the script. It's the JSON, no problem. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, send me the error stuff. Okay, here's the error. Oh, I know what went wrong. This will fix it. 38 attempts. So the frustration of these things just don't seem to be ready for prime time. I did another one where I asked it to create a prompt where I could prepare for a meeting for someone. One of the use cases that you, right? So I said, create me this prompt. And so I gave me the prompt. I gave it the person's URL on LinkedIn, their name, all this background. And it went and gave me a wonderful brief, snapshot brief of the questions I could ask this person to start the conversation, except it was the wrong person. And then when I questioned it, it said, oh, I can't look at LinkedIn profiles. That's all private. Well, what if I give you my login? Oh, no, I can't do that either. So the frustration level I'm having actually accomplishing any task that I'm trying to automate is unbelievable. And trying to learn N8N, and your last podcast you had last week with the guest for the French lady, like this is, when she said the learning curve is steep, it's unbelievable. And I'm a relative, I've been in, IT a long time, relatively savvy guy. But I'm not a coder. It is unbelievably steep learning curve. And I don't know what the group's experience has been, but the consensus seems to be that don't go with the easy ones like Zapier or Make, go with the harder one. But it is a lot more complex.
Well,
Okay, so
I mean, make.com is significant, is still, even the other ones have a bit of a learning curve. So if N8N is considered hard at that point, then yeah, I definitely look at the, make.com is actually really nicely laid out, and it's very powerful.
yeah, so I agree. I always tell people start with Make. From a value to investment, it is by far the best one right now. It is not as flexible and capable as N8N. It is way easier to use and definitely way easier to get started. Even just connecting accounts, like connecting your Gmail account or your Microsoft Outlook account
Super easy.
in Make is you go in, you give it your password, and you're done. You're connected. Doing it in N8N, you go to Google Cloud or to Microsoft Azure, and you have to open a project, and you have to assign permissions, and you have it's like 20 steps that you need to be
Yes,
an IT
exactly.
manager to do.
And
So 100%, like if you're
Exactly.
not if you're not now in the process of I'm going to automate my entire business and it's going to save me a lot of money doing it through N8N, just go with Make.
I'm actually in the process of automating a lot of our business, but I'm designing it all in Make first.
Yeah.
And once I
100%.
have all of that in Make, I'm going after the ones that use the most operations, and I'm going to move those over first, and use it as an optimization problem. But designing it in Make is so easy and so fast that it's just to get stuff out there as an initial tool. It's great.
It seems now I understand why there's a whole business out there for people to build your N8N agent for you, because it's so complicated. So there's the buy the build it. There's the build it yourself. And then there's an easier way to build it yourself, apparently. I'm wondering, is there anything where it's pre-built? We all want to go, I want to check my emails. I want to monitor my emails. And if this email comes in, I want to do X with that email. I want to reply, and I want to customize reply. So I need a little bit of a brain. So I might have Agent Kit. But like, what's been pre-written? These seem like pretty standard business processes. Business is simple: get the business, do the business, get paid. A lot of similar processes. Is there a library out there of pre-written N8N agents that do specific things?
100%. So both on Make and on Zapier and on N8N and all of those, there are thousands of existing templates. Most of them are free. And some of them will cost you, okay, pay me $30. I'm like, okay, I'll pay you $30 to save myself the 3 hours of agony. And
Exactly.
what I do in many, many cases is I mix and match segments of these templates. So there are long templates. It does all these things. I'm like, okay, I just need this. But now I have this building block that I can reuse. And then there's this other thing that does the other part that I need. And all I have to figure out is how to connect them and make them talk to one another. And the same is true in Make and in N8N. Literally thousands of people are sharing them. Oh, a lot more than thousands. Probably tens of thousands of people are sharing them on the internet. And you can, if you just search for template this. Now, the thing that I'm still puzzled by, and I'm sure it's coming, and there's third-party attempts, but not inside of N8N and Make. There's zero reason right now why you shouldn't be able to say in English what you want the system to do, and then it will just create the automation for you. A to Z, soup to nuts, the whole thing. Test it out, verify, check that it's working. Ask me for what you need from me. Like, I need your API key for this. Here's the instructions on how to go and get it. I need your login to this. Just give me your login. And you will give it all the stuff, and it will run. The two closest things that I have right now that I'm using, and I shared that with you in the past, but since you're new, I'm going to share it again. One is I have a Claude project that has an N8N MCP server
with a whole set of instructions on how to use the MCP server that I never got to work 100%, but it gets me 85% there, which is way better than I can do on my own in 5 minutes. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not a big deal, like to get the MCP set up and connecting it to Claude and then running it. So this is one good shortcut. Again, it's not perfect, but it's going to save you X%. The other one is I now do 100% of my annotating work in the Comet browser that is now free and available to everybody. So you don't have to pay or be a member of anything. And Comet has been really good at helping me solve N8N issues that I'm running into. Sometimes it will be similar to what you experience. Like, oh yeah, I solved it for you. Like, okay, it still doesn't work. Okay, I know why I done wrong, and kind of like that. But usually within 3 or 4 attempts, with the right prompting and the right reference materials, which is a very big deal. I'm going to get to your first point in a minute. It actually helps me a lot. So I do all of my N8N work in Comet, and it helps me solve a lot of problems I don't know how to solve on my own. And it's kind of funny because despite the fact I'm asking it to do the thing every time, it's like, oh, here's how you do this. I'm like, no, just do it. I'm like, okay. And then it goes, it goes and does it. And you have to do it every single time, but it works. I now going back to what I said in the beginning, I'm shocked, literally shocked that N8N doesn't have a built-in tool like this already. And it could be a paid separate tool, like pay me $20 a month to build. Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll pay it. Just to have that tool run and build automations and test them and verify and everything. So basically run your own MCP server, know how to test it, know how to install it, and so on. I'm shocked it doesn't exist yet, but I'll be really, really surprised if it doesn't happen in the near future. But I've been saying that for at least 6 months.
So how many of you use Claude skills? Oh, okay. So about a month ago, when the new Claude came out, I don't know when that was, like X number of weeks ago, and then we'll go to you, Richard. But they came out with skills. So what are skills? Skills are like little piece of instructions that could be anything, because it's basically like a fancy prompt with knowledge. So think about, okay, the best way to describe it is like a library of prepackaged custom GPTs or Claude projects in this case, that it can pull at will whenever it needs to get access to it. So think about, I think I showed you this many times before. Do you know, I showed you that in a regular chat in ChatGPT, you can use the @ symbol to call a custom GPT. Did you know that? Yes, no? No. Okay. So I'll show very, very quickly, and then I'll show you the Claude thing. Cool. Do you see ChatGPT, or am I showing something else? ChatGPT. Yeah. So if you hit the @ symbol in a regular chat in ChatGPT, usually, maybe it needs a little refresh to wake up. Obviously, when you want to demo something, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
In theory,
I had the same thing. If I was trying to do it in 5 or 5.1, I'd have to change to 4.0 if I created the GPT.
no, I've did this a gazillion times in the past 2 weeks. So not in 5.1, but I definitely did this on 5. So let's go to GPT-5 thinking. Follow that. Interesting. Well, try it out. It conceptually works. Like it gives you like a drop-down menu of your, that never happened to me that it didn't work. So I'm wondering why it's not working.
Maybe the update took the friend away again.
Yeah, maybe. So usually what happens when you hit the @ sign, it opens like a drop-down menu that shows you.
Didn't work
all
for me
your-
either. I just tried it.
Doesn't work?
Didn't know it existed, but it doesn't do anything for me.
Weird. So never mind. But what it used to do is to allow you to
Still an old model.
use It allows you to use several different, what you're saying in 4.0 it works. Let's try it just to show you that it's working. GPT
'Cause it
4.0.
definitely worked in 4.0, but they didn't
Holy
port it over
crap.
to 5.
So it is working. I used it in 5 for sure. But you can kind of see here, right? So you can add whatever this, and then you can give it whatever you want to give it. And then the idea behind it was that you can use several of them in the single conversation. So if you had like a 3-step process, you can use the step 1 and then the step 2 and then the step 3, just by adding it. And then it knows what happened before and it uses that as the input for the next step. So Claude skills is kind of the same concept, only it knows on its own to use the skills. So if you look at Claude Desktop, which is the way to get them or create them, if you go to your settings, and you have to install Claude Desktop, but if you go to your settings and you go to capabilities and you scroll down, then you have skills, and then you need to turn them on, and then you can have all these things that it already comes up with out of the box, and you need to turn each and every one of them on. Canvas
This one
design.
is doing so good on your Excel and Word documents. Is that like a new skill that it has?
So yes, but I think some of them are built in, and you don't even have to turn them on.
Okay.
Right. So, but you can see 2 very interesting ones. One is called MCP Builder, and the other is called Skill Creator. So if you have Skill Creator on, and you tell it that you want to create new skills, you literally have a regular conversation with it, and it will give you a package that you can download. Once you download that, you can upload it here and create a new skill. So I have a new skill of my brand guidelines. The tone, I like to use examples of that, the actual documents with my color coding and so on. So if I now go here and I start a new chat and I say, please create a document that will promote the Friday AI Hangouts, which is a great community of people talking about AI. It needs to be no more than 5 paragraphs long. Describe the benefits and why people should join. Create it as a well-designed Microsoft document. Oh, sorry. Stop. Wait. You know what? I actually wonder if I would have done it anyway. Use my brand guidelines. There you'll see what it's going to do. Thinking about, referencing brand guidelines, identify task requirements, prepared to consult brand. And now it's reading the file because it knows reading multiply AI brand guidelines directory to understand the brand identity. So it's actually, so these skills are packages. They have instructions and knowledge base, just like all the other stuff. And so in the knowledge base, it has my brand guidelines, the color coding, the fonts that I use, all these kind of things. It has my logo, so it can use my logo because it's going to write HTML code and it can take the logo and place it inside the HTML. It's like stuff like that. But you can create them for literally anything. Like you can have, and it knows how to pull them in real time. Now, the biggest benefit of putting them in real time is that until it needs them, they don't use tokens. They don't take part of your context window. So it's freaking absolutely brilliant. So that's Claude skills. And it's again, relatively new, but you can create them with the creation skill inside of skills, which is kind of meta. This is how it works. And to call that skill, you literally want to tell it you want to create a new skill, and then you'll see, oh, I have a skill to create skills. Then he will know that, and then it knows how to create the package that then you can download and re-upload, which by itself is a little stupid. Like if I told you I want to create a skill, I don't need to download it and upload it, just save it wherever it needs to be saved. But that's a whole other thing. So here we go. Let's see what it did. And you'll see that's going to have the colors of my shirt and stuff like that and my logo, and pretty cool, right?
And how did it get the context of that data? You uploaded something before, or it's going to your website?
Yeah. So by the way, you can see it here. So perfect. I've created the Friday AI Hangouts. Here's the document. The document includes brand aligned. So it knows how to pull the colors. So these things come from that scale that I created. And the way I created the scale is having a conversation, asking it to create the scale. And then I gave it the brand guidelines, my tone of voice, stuff like that. It creates a package. You re-upload the package. You're done. And you can do this for literally anything. Specific formatting of invoices, like literally anything it needs to know. You can create a scale and it will call the scale when it needs it, which is freaking amazing.
I need help from all of you geniuses that work developing and doing all the cool coding stuff and that happen to know the evils of Microsoft. So I know I probably lost half of you guys, but the other rest that are interested in, we had to go back and develop our own chatbot, and it's a technical chatbot for all of our part numbers and all of our stuff. And we're doing it in Copilot Studio, which is, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's pretty good. What we're finding is that I see you laughing, Isar. I see you laughing.
I'm not. I had good and bad experiences with Microsoft Copilot. So
what I'm finding is everything went fantastic. We uploaded the whole catalog, and this is thrilling stuff. I know all of you guys are losing your minds over how exciting this looks like. I know. I'll send you guys one. It has all of our part numbers, and each part number has different variations of. We uploaded everything, and then halfway of reading the chart, it starts to hallucinate and create part numbers by adding a 1. So for example, part number 10164, instead of 04, it says 05. The weirdest thing. So we got in with the Microsoft folks, with the Copilot Studio team. They looked at it. They gave us a couple of suggestions. It didn't work. And then they sent us to deal with OCR. We've been playing with OCR, but that thing is a monstrosity. We're way over our heads with this. Any suggestions? Has anybody had experience with OCR?
So I do, but my question is, don't you have a digital version of this thing? Why do you need OCR?
Well, according to the Copilot Studio folks from Copilot Studio, they say that we need to add this toggle button in Copilot Studio to allow OCR as a connector so that it can read that table better.
But okay,
So
I'm going
you're
back.
talking
Like
about the master document, right?
yeah, like if you have the raw data of the document versus the final version, kind of like print ready copy of the document,
Yeah.
just use the raw data.
Yeah, if we uploaded that. Yeah, we have the digital catalog. And for some reason, it cannot read. It stops reading like halfway the table, and that's when it starts hallucinating.
How
much data is on there?
Again, I don't.
Oh, these are 450 something pages.
Yeah,
but it shouldn't,
I would assume it has nothing to do with OCR. And again, I don't know enough to answer. But OCR relates to I have a page that I want to scan, or I have a PDF file in its final flattened format that the data may not be as easy. And I want to read what's on the file versus I have the source data in a digital format like a CSV or something like that.
Or read directly from him. Yeah.
I assume you guys have the raw data and not just the final formatting for the book. And
Yeah.
if that is the case, then it has nothing to do with OCR because it doesn't need to read the page. It actually consumes the data. And so my guess would be that so the way all these tools work, the very first step is called chunking. And I don't want to get too technical, but it's basically taking your data and cutting it into smaller pieces that then the
Right.
AI knows how to retrieve based on the vectors that it's generating.
Yeah.
Knowing how to do chunking for large data is art.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if you don't know how to do that, it is not going to work. I literally just read a very interesting paper that does not necessarily relate to what you're doing, but it relates to what you're talking about on a bigger picture of somebody that was trying to get the AI to also know what's in actually charts and graphs outside of a full document versus just the text. And what he did in step one is that he created a metadata for each and every one of the charts. And it still didn't work. And what he did then, he changed the chunking to include the 2 paragraphs before and the 2 paragraphs after each chart. So now it has the context of what the chart
Of
is.
what
Because
it's
if you think about a
reading.
book, it's like, okay, you're talking
Yeah.
about something, they're going to show the something, then sometimes you will analyze the thing. It gives it more context on what's in the chart, so it could actually now understand the chart better. And so knowing how to do chunking, especially if you're talking about 400 pages of raw data, is the trick. I don't know how to do that, but there's people that that's what they do. And if I had to guess, this is your problem and not the OCR aspect, because if you have the raw data, then OCR is not even a part of the equation.
Okay.
So this reminds me of the problem, Isar, that you and I connected on when I was trying to process that 2,500 page Word PDF document. And even with the raw data, it was almost impossible because we couldn't find a platform that was able to handle the amount of data.
Yeah, so you can definitely chunk data that is way, way bigger than that. Like people are creating databases of like the entire freaking universe. You know, think about OpenAI, right? They're like, what the hell is ChatGPT? It's like they took the data off the internet and they chunked it. So it's doable. You just need to know how to do it. And again, there's people who that's what they know how to do. And the basic out of the box tools are great if you want to
I
upload
can't
20
do.
pages, 30 pages, 50 pages, 100 pages. Once you start getting to more than that, or you start getting into very, very specific information, like again, think about the difference between just creating a chatbot that talks about HR knowledge. How do I, sign up for a PTO versus I need the exact part number. It's a very different kind of retrieval, which means it requires a very different kind of chunking and data setup. And again, sadly, I'm open to anybody else if you know somebody or a tool that does it, but I don't.